All right. How's everybody doing? Come on in, come on in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Sorry I'm late. Just jumped off a members only live stream to do this one. So I'm back to back with it, man. I'm back to back with it. So I apologize. Just finished up a members only investment club live stream. If you're not a part of the investment club and you are interested in it, you know what to do. Members only. Make sure you check it out. We running up a bag today, so we running up a serious bag today. So just wanted to chop it up with my members. But this is a box truck cargo van Q&A. A lot of people have been typing questions in the chat during the call-in show. So I said, all right, we're gonna do a box truck cargo van Q&A. So come on in, make sure you guys hit that like button and start firing away. I got about an hour. And then I have to make some moves. I got to hit these streets, got to hit the gym, got to shoot to the car dealership. I got some things I got to do. So what's going on, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Hopefully you got to check out some of that content that I put out yesterday. We did a public investment club yesterday. Hopefully you got some jewels from that if you're not a member. Hopefully you checked out the, what was that I did last night? The Generation Z live stream. Hopefully you got a chance to check out the call-in show from Friday night, epic call-in show. Make sure you guys check that out. I'm gonna be dropping some shorts throughout the day that's scheduled to drop throughout the day. So, all right, but this is a Q&A, so come on with the questions. Let's get it going. Deep State said, good game yesterday. Appreciate you, appreciate you. I'm looking for Great Polo, man. Where's Great Polo at? I got some news for Great Polo. Great Polo, if you in here, let me know where you at. Q&A, come on, man. Everybody got all these questions for me. When I'm not answering questions, now I dedicate a live stream just to answer your questions. And what's going on? Maybe I should have did it later in the day. But I said, let me jump on early. I like to switch it up sometimes. Sometimes I like to catch people who are working now that when I go live later on in the evening, 6, 7 o'clock, they're asleep because they're doing like Amazon or something at night. So that's why I'm trying to catch. I try to catch those people earlier in the day sometimes, from time to time. Michael was good. Deep State was good. Marie was good. Shout out to Pippi. What's going on? Make sure y'all hit the like button. Let me know where you guys are checking in from. I guess I'll let the notifications kick in. Waiting for the people with the Q&A questions. We doing this short form live stream format. We're gonna see what this do. What's the best way to pay a driver, percentage or a flat rate? It depends on what you're doing. It depends on what you're doing. Percentage pertains more to like OTR than it does for, let's say, local final mile. Local final mile, you flirt more with the flat rate or an hourly. If I know that I'm running a dedicated curbside or dedicated, let's say, final mile, big and bulky, flat rate, you know what I'm saying? Or hourly, depending on, if, hourly is kind of tricky because you never know what you're going to run into on a day-to-day basis, case-by-case basis when you're doing, big and bulky final mile delivery. You could have a day that goes extremely smooth. You could have a day that goes extremely bad. Every place you get to, it's just an obstacle course trying to get some of this stuff in. People order things that are too big. People see things in the store that are just too big for their apartment or their condo or their house, right? So in that case, for like big and bulky, you want to do a flat rate. If you're getting, let's say, a 750-day route, then now you can determine, boom, I know how much I spend on average in fuel. If you're renting, if you own your truck, you know how much your fixed costs are. Now you can determine, I can afford to have a $500 payroll, right? Boom. So I know I'm gonna pay the driver $250 and let's say the helper $250. I'm just making numbers, round whole numbers. Obviously, you're not gonna pay them the same. But that's how you determine. Now, when you run an OTR, obviously each load is gonna be different. It's gonna pay different. your cost is going to be different because your travel is going to be different. So it makes more sense on that and on that side to pay a percentage. Big Slick, what up? What up? Art, what up? Shout out to Pennsylvania. Linda Gregory, Covington, GA. What's going on? How to charge for junk removal? You charge by the yard space on the trailer. If you got a dump trailer, you got a dump truck. So you charge by the space. So you can divide it in fourths. All right, you can charge for this fourth, half, 3/4, whole, and then you charge the customers by that. If you need a reference, go to like 1-800-GOT-JUNK or one of the major corporate franchise junk places and go on their website and do just like a generic uh, um, um, try to get like a generic quote, and then they'll give you a chart on how much they charge. Some of them you don't even have to do a generic quote for. They'll just have the chart, and then you can kind of use that as a reference. And then once you research your market and see what your competitors are charging, once you call them and get like a mock quote, then you can kind of set your prices right in the sweet spot. So that's how you charge for junk removal. You charge them by the feet space that takes up from whatever you're removing on the truck. Doesn't really matter what you're hauling. If you're doing a basement clean out, a garage clean out, trash out, you charge them by the feet on the dump trailer or the dump truck. And keep in mind, and this is where a lot of people mess up. When they're starting a junk removal business. I started a junk removal business in 2020. I talked about it before. I showed my dump trailer, bought a brand new dump trailer. I partnered with that. And this is why I don't like partnering with people, because not everybody is just good businessmen. But went out, bought a brand new PJ, DM14, 7x14, 4-foot high dump trailer, and was doing really, really well. Good business model if you're willing to get dirty. But what you got to realize and what you got to understand is when you do determine how much you're going to charge, you also got to incorporate your dumping fees into that as well. So you need to start calling around to the local dumps and see how much they charge a ton. I was able to find a yard here right outside of Chicago in a suburb off 130th and Ashland, Blue Island, tri-state, charged $75 a ton. Most of the places in the city was charging 125, 135. Republic, Waste Management, Republic Services, all these big national chain waste facilities charging an arm and a leg, right? But in order for me to be competitive, I needed to find a facility that was cheaper. So $50 cheaper was good, but sometimes you have to travel. I would have to travel out to Blue Island, right, to dump for $75 a ton. So you got to make sure that when you're estimating this and people are sending you pictures or you're going out to do a visual estimate, this is where your experience is going to have to start taking in, because you're doing a flat rate. You got to know, okay, by looking at what needs to be hauled, how much is going to weigh. Obviously, if you're doing a trash out, let's say it's a 1-bedroom apartment versus doing let's say like a construction job where someone was getting, let's say a pool built in their backyard. I actually covered one of these jobs, and the company that did the digging didn't haul away all the dirt, right? So obviously that dirt weighs more than the mattress, your dresser, box springs, and shit like that. So, and it weighs a lot more heavier, like dirt, gravel, things like that. You have to be able to determine by looking at how much gravel or how much dirt, how many tons that's going to be, because you don't want to give a customer a quote, and then when you get to the junk, the waste facility, and you ride across that scale when you ride in, right? And then you go to the back and dump it, and then you ride across empty, and then they give you a number, and you like, whoa. So you got to be able to look and see, okay, this is going to be 2 tons. This is going to be 4 tons. This is going to be 6 tons. You see what I'm saying? So you got to know that, right? Garage clean out, shit like that, all that, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to determine it. So a lot of research goes into junk removal as far as the charging and being able to measure by looking at something how much something is going to weigh when you put it on your trailer or you put it on your dump truck when you have to ride across that scale at the dump facility. All right, you can't just take a whole room and measure and weigh it. It just doesn't work like that. You gotta, and that's gonna come over time with experience. Obviously, the first few jobs that I took, because when I started this business um, in 2020, those junk removal jobs, those all those early junk removal jobs for the first 6 months, I was on them. I was on them. I was getting my hands dirty. I was going in people's nasty ass basements. We were doing, some of them were not just junk removal, some were demo with removal. I remember walking through an abandoned 15 unit building, which is my cousin. This is a building that he required. He's heavy in the real estate, and he acquired a 15 unit building on the west side, and it was like a old Jewish guy owned it, and the dope fiends and the drug dealers took over the building, and he just didn't want to deal with it anymore, so he just let it go. My cousin ended up buying it, got all the dope fiends and stuff out, but you can only imagine walking through this 15 unit building was like walking through the Carter. You know, you see needles everywhere, trash. You go into some of these units and people, mattresses on the floor. I got pictures of this shit. I'll show pictures one of these days of the live stream. Like, this shit was nasty. Like, people is literally laying in mattresses on the floor, eating chips and nacho chips with goddamn ground beef on it, and then just, you know, falling asleep after they shoot the dope up, the plate on the ground. I'm looking at a room full of just trash, and they living like that. But this is some of the jobs that you're gonna come across. So you gotta go in there with the full white suit. You gotta go in there, make sure you covered up. Me, I got long dreads, so now I gotta make sure I'm covered up, white suit on, because you don't know what's in there. It could be bed bugs, all type of shit. It's a nasty job, but it pays exceptionally well. A job like that, you talking about tens of thousands of dollars. All right, obviously it's multiple trips, but I have to give a flat rate quote, a 15 unit building from the top floor all the way down to the basement. And I have to be precise and spot on, because as that truck and as that trailer is running back and forth from the site to the dump, I'm being charged for the dumping fees, and I have to make sure that I quote it correctly, because I don't want to take a loss. I got a team I got to pay, right? I got to pay the dumping fees, and I got to make sure that my company makes a profit as well, right? So you have to be spot on, and that takes time. You're going to take losses at the beginning, because you're going to have to learn how to visually measure this stuff. So hopefully that wasn't a long-winded answer. I wanted to give you some real case scenarios that I've come across to kind of give you an idea of what you're up against when you jump into that business. Just got my LLC cargo van coming soon. Congratulations. Am I going to the dealership to look for a black SUV? No, I'm still doing the research on that. We probably won't go buy the truck until later on, maybe this year, if I decide to fully go through with it. Right now, I'm still kind of borderline on the fence, because I took another one this morning. The reason I went to the dealership this morning, I had to drop off one of my cars for service. So I took a black, and I talked to the guy, and he's saying something similar to all the other blacks. I take 100 hours a week, right? A lot of competition. Certain periods of the year are extremely busy. Obviously, okay, we back. You get Lollapalooza. You get a lot of the festivals, a lot of concerts, a lot of things going on in the summertime. So obviously, summertime, more conferences. We got the first or second largest conference facility in the country, and we fluctuate between the first and the second busiest airport in the country. So there is a lot going on here, but there's also a lot of competition. So I'm still weighing it. That if I do decide to do that particular business, what I'm going to do, if I decide to do it, we're still in the research process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to document the process on that. So obviously, when I started my trucking business back in 2010, obviously the platform and what we're doing now didn't exist back then, as far as live streaming and documenting starting businesses and stuff, that this is something that's kind of evolved prior to me starting my trucking business. Since I'm retired from trucking, what I want to do is, if I do start this business, I will document that process from, going to buy the vehicle to me actually out there learning that industry on a first-hand basis, so that people can really understand. Listen, when you come into a business, no matter where you are in life, matter how financially sound you are, if you're going to start a business, you have to have boots on the ground. You have to be out there, so that when you do remove yourself from the business and you start to scale up, you can train people on what it takes and uh what you need them to do and how you need them to perform, so that the business continue to be successful. If you get to a point where you start a business from the ground up and you're out there and you build it up to the point where you can scale and grow and remove yourself from the day to day as far as being in the field and put people out there, that means you're successful at it. And then when you put people out there, that success has to continue. All right. And the only way it's going to continue is because you've been out there and you know how to train people to continue that success. So I don't care, where I'm at in life. That's a sacrifice that I got to take to ensure that I get my initial investment back to me. If I go out and I buy an SUV, getting the license is nothing. Getting the livery license is nothing. It's nothing as far as the paperwork, the licensing, the bread. The biggest investment is obviously going to be the vehicle, right? And I'm smart. I know how to buy vehicles, right? So I'm not gonna go buy a brand new one. I'm gonna buy something that's a year or two old. I'm looking at either a Suburban, a Denali, or an Escalade ESV, a Denali Extended, or a Suburban. Those are the three vehicles I'm looking at, right? I'm obviously gonna go buy something that's a year or two old, right? Because I'm gonna save all that depreciation value, right? And I'm gonna have to physically get out there and go do it. You see what I'm saying? But I'm gonna document that if I decide to go ahead and do it. Right now, I'm kind of on the fence. Like I said, man, these guys are talking about 100 hours a week. And that's a lot, man. That's a lot of waiting around, waiting for a broker to send you airport trips, a lot of moonlighting on the ride share, on the blacks on the ride shares in between customers. When you're looking at things like proms and you got celebrity clientele, you have to make sure you charge them a fee because they may book you for the whole day. So it may just be picking them up from the airport, taking them to the hotel, waiting around the hotel for them to come back down, taking them to the conference event, waiting around for them to come from the conference, taking them to dinner meetings, taking them back to their hotel, and then being right back up, taking them back to a conference all the way till it's time for them to fly back to wherever their home market is, picking them up from the hotel, taking them back to the airport, right? So a lot of times it's a lot of waiting, but you have to make sure that you're charging this client enough for your downtime, because you're literally sitting there waiting. You're on their time, right? So it pays a lot. Average person making five, six, $700 a day, but that's a lot of time that they're sitting in that damn SUV as well. Luckily for me, I have somebody that's ready to go on it, that's kind of doing it already in their personal car, but they want to kind of step up and do more higher end clientele. Uh, from the chauffeur side, and if I can help this person get going and run under me for a little while, and then maybe I can start a brokerage, and then maybe help him get started with his own vehicle, then that's something I'm looking forward to do. Hey, Mark, how do I send payment to you to do my market research, and how much for two markets? Also, how would you charge to train me and my crew to learn how to pack a truck? So doing market research, like, I've never done market research for nobody. I've never charged anybody for market research. That's something that you probably would have to book a call with for me to show you how to do it yourself. Now, for me to show you how to pack a truck, that would be me coming to your market, spending a day or two, with you and your crew to show you how to actually do it, and show you what you're doing wrong and show you the correct way to do it. So for me to come to your market, it's going to be my time, obviously, and my room and board, and plus my travel. I wish it was something I could physically show you over the internet, but it's not. That's something that, is going to take a few days because you want to, different settings are going to require different techniques. All right. So basic technique of packing a truck for a move, obviously your boxes are going to go in first, right? Boom. You're going to build a wall with your boxes. You're going to go in, you're going to assess the job. You're going to see what type of boxes. Hopefully it's a customer who goes to Home Depot or goes to U-Haul. They get the boxes that are extra small, medium, large, extra large, right? Uniform boxes, right? Because now it's easier to load because you can build a more precise wall because the boxes are symmetrical. You can start with the XLs, you can start with the wardrobe boxes, medium, large, so on and so forth. But if it's a customer, like I remember back in the day when I was a kid, we moved around like nomads back when I was a kid, and we were poor. And my mother used to go to all the grocery stores and go in the back and get all the broken down boxes, so the egg carton boxes and shit like that. And in that case, if you have a customer like that who goes to grocery stores and asks them, hey, I'm moving, can you save me some boxes and I'll come pick them up? Now you're going to have a bunch of ununiform boxes, right? Which you can still build a nice wall, but it'll be a little bit more difficult because the boxes aren't, the same. If a person has 100 boxes and 25 of them are all small, uniform U-Haul boxes or Home Depot boxes, they're all the same size. You can build an even wall, precise. You just stack the boxes, boom, boom. Then you come with the mediums. Or if you want to start with the large and then you come with the medium, then the small. But if you got an egg box that's like this, and then you got a damn Gatorade box that's tall like that, and then they do got a few moving boxes that they purchased that's all different sizes, you have to be really, really good at looking at that stuff and measuring it and filling all those gaps in with different things. If they have like those vacuum seal bags, if you got a gap over here, you got a box here, a box there, and there's a little gap, take a vacuum seal bag, plug it in there. That takes years and years of experience. I had one guy who was really, really good. This guy, Aaron, was so good at packing trucks that when other moving companies would drive past and they were approaching the back of the truck, looking in, they were like, damn, who packed that truck? We need to steal you from this company and come hire you. So packing a truck is really, 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 it's a science to it. But yeah, to show you really how to pack a truck, I would have to be there. I would really have to be there. Market research is something that I would have to show you how to do in a session. Speaking on sessions, I'm thinking about closing my coaching sessions down. Um, I, you know, I just, I don't know. I'm thinking about closing them down. So if you plan on booking it, you might want to do it sooner than later because I'm on the fence of just closing them down altogether. Marie says she's noticing that your so-called partner is broke. You're mostly solo. So if you got a broke partner, it sounds like you don't got a partner. What about medical supplies or produce delivery? And for produce delivery is going to require a reefer truck. Medical supplies, I've never done medical. Yes, I have done medical supplies, but I've only done the bids. And this wasn't an account that I had per se. It was an account. It wasn't even an account. It was actually the operations supervisor from Dynamics, which is now T-Force, left and became the operations supervisor at a medical supply logistics company. And obviously she was dealing with a lot of people with cargo vans. And when they would get the hospital beds couldn't fit in a cargo van. It would take two guys because they have the motor on, and she would call me to come from time to time and cut my company a check to do the hospital beds. From what I see and what I understand, medical supplies does play really well, pays better than delivering the actual prescriptions, the pharmaceuticals. So if you got a van and that's something that you want to tap into, it does pay pretty well. There's a company called Spoke Logistics. If they have any openings in your market, you probably want to look into that company. Costa said he works in construction. Keep in mind that if it rains, it will add 30 to 50% to the waste, right? So if you're going to get into the junk removal, and let's say if you're moving something that's outside, like gravel or dirt or something like that, you do have to keep that in mind. if it's a day after it rains and you go to remove that, it's going to be heavier. So now if you've already given a quote, now you got to re-quote them, or you got to tell them, all right, you know what, it rained yesterday. This stuff is going to be heavier. So either I'm going to have to charge you more, or we're going to have to wait for a few days for that to dry out. All right. So yes, that's a good point. So you got to keep that in mind. Hey Mark, how to generate leads for furniture delivery in one bedroom move? I have a Transit 250 high. Thumbtack is probably going to be your best bet nowadays. Thumbtack, small flyer distribution specifically to storage facilities. I wouldn't waste time on door hangers, hand-to-hand flyer distribution. I think it's a waste of money. Another good way to market yourself outside of Thumbtack is online advertising, direct advertising via Facebook, utilizing their technology, because they're going to target it towards actual customers who have researched moving recently, or have said moving while they were talking on the phone, because it's listening to you. So that way it's just not sending those, sending your ad out, wasting your money to people who aren't even interested in moving. Right? It's just like if you're searching something, and then you go on Facebook or your Instagram, and then you see something that you Google search, or something that you were on the phone talking about earlier, and now you're starting to see ads for it. Same like that. So you want to set up a Facebook ad account, and you want to, choose the demographic, choose your market, and then it's just going to do targeted placement. It's going to place those ads to targeted people who were actually researching moving, or talking about moving. So that way you're not wasting those ad dollars. But Thumbtack would be my main go-to. It's a lead generating service, and you have to be punctual when you get those leads, because it's competitive. Most people, when they do look for quotes on Thumbtack, they're reaching out to 3 or 4 people at the same time. So you have to be quick. As soon as you get that request for a quote, you need to send them that quote. So already have it generated, so you can just manually send it to them right away, and then call them right away and try to close the deal right away. All right, make sure y'all hit that like button. All right, sorry, I'm doing this short live format that YouTube wants us to do now. So the phone rings and it's gonna kick people out. Just make sure you come back. Make sure you hit the like button as well. What would be a good price for a cargo van? If I was getting a cargo van right now, I get an extended lift high roof 4 T250. I would be looking to spend around about 30,000 for it, which is kind of high in comparison to when I was shopping for vehicles back in my day. But everything is a little bit higher now, so you got to kind of roll with it. Cargo vans are going to be more expensive than box trucks, believe it or not. I know people argued me that until I proved it to them. There's a demand for cargo vans. The demand for box trucks is no more. That's why cargo vans are expensive, and that's why box trucks are cheap. Cargo van is not facing the challenges that box trucks are facing. Why? Because cargo vans deal more with essentials, right? Like the person who's looking earlier, medical supplies. That's healthcare, right? You're delivering medical supplies to a customer who needs a cane, needs a walker, who needs some crutches, who needs a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? Essentials. Where box trucks are moving a flurry of different things, and they're also competing with the semi-truck guys as well. If you look at a person, let's say like Kurt, he's moving parcels in a semi-truck. A lot of the different parcels he's moving, you can move those same things in a box truck. So he's in a semi-truck, right? So you're competing not only with box truckers, you're also competing with knowledgeable, advanced people who are in a semi-truck. Whereas a person in a cargo van, they're only competing with people that are in a cargo van. And that demand is there because regardless of how the economy plays, whether it's good or it's bad, the things that you are going to move and get accounts for in a cargo van, it doesn't matter if the economy is good or bad. If you're moving pharmaceutical or you're moving medical supplies, the hospitals don't deal with economic downturns. You're sick, you're sick. Guess what? It's America. You're going to have a hospital bill, but they can't refuse you. If a person needs a walker, they need a walker. If they need a cane, they need a cane. If they need crutches, they need crutches. If they need a wheelchair, they need a wheelchair. If they need a hospital bed delivered to them because they're having long-term hospice care from home, then they need a hospital bed. Those are things that are necessities. Those aren't frivolous things. That's why cargo van prices are through the roof. And when you see a cargo van go up for sale, if you don't move on it quick enough, it's gone. Because the demand is there. That's why you seen box truck, you can get a box truck for under 20 grand now. These are not only are these pre-pandemic box truck prices, these are pre-pandemic 10-year ago box truck price. This is the prices when I was looking, when I was building. These box trucks are cheap. So for $250, about $30 used. I wouldn't get a new one. I said the market research is 100. I might have just been talking shit, bro. Like, DM me, man. DM me, man. DM me and let me know what market you in and what you got going. What if you came to Chicago? You gonna come to Chicago? You got. In order for me to show you how to load a truck, you got to be on a job. So unless you come into Chicago and you got jobs booked for a couple of days, it wouldn't work here. You need to book jobs in your market. I come to your market and show you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. I'm retired, so I don't have any moving jobs here. You would need jobs in order to, for me to demonstrate to you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Obviously, the first job, I'm going to look at you guys, I'm going to survey you guys, and then I'm going to correct what you're doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? I want to see how you load the truck. I want to see what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, so I can correct that behavior. So I would have to come to your market because that's where the work is. You see what I'm saying? But DM me, man. DM me and let me know everything you got going on so I can, help determine what's the best way to go about it. Jay Stokes, what up? Good morning, C. Simmons. What do I think about the 4F650 or the 4F750 for a 26 foot box truck? I mean, Fords are good. You see people, depends on what you're doing. If you're OTR, you probably want to look at more like a Freightliner. You know what I'm saying? If you're local, a Ford F650, a Ford F750 isn't bad. About an hour away from Detroit. Should I start up my business entity there or have on there and where I'm at? Depends on, if you're somewhere outside of Detroit, you probably want to set it up where you're at. I don't see what the difference would be structuring your business in Detroit versus in a suburb or another town an hour outside of Detroit. Cargo van, Sprinter van supposed to grow to 24 billion by 2027. I wouldn't doubt it. I haven't looked at those statistics, but just being smart enough to understand that the lazier people get, the more home deliveries they're going to want, and all this stuff is going to be in a personal vehicle or cargo van. It makes sense. It makes sense, and that's why the demand is there. That's why, a used cargo van is more than a used box truck. So something with less capacity is more than something with more capacity. So when you look at that, then you can kind of put two and two together. But the thing is, cargo vans and pickup trucks have always held their value. You know what I'm saying? But they're holding it even more now. Hit the like button. Oh, this is the guy from the other day, Tracy Jones. Enterprise still haven't given me my truck. Yeah, I was talking about you yesterday. I wish I was on my computer. I would tell you to hit the link, but that's on you, brother. We had this conversation the other day. You gave these people $5,000 and something with no understanding of what you were getting in return. That's just not conducive of a good business person. I'm not giving nobody nothing without understanding, what I'm getting, when I'm getting it. I give you $5,000 for a rental truck that you told me is there, unless they said, listen, we We got some PM, we got some maintenance to do on it. Give us 2 or 3 days and then you can come pick it up. And then what I'm going to ask them next is, all right, well, if I give you this 5,000 now, these 2 or 3 days that I don't have the truck because you guys have to do a PM on it, are you going to credit me for those 2 to 3 days? You see what I'm saying? Like, this is business. This is not games. $5,000 is a lot of money. All right. So you got to know what you getting into before you get into it. You see what I'm saying? Tracy Jones, you're going to have to tap in. Man, we going to have to talk about, we got to hold you accountable for that, man. We got to hold you accountable for that. I'm not giving nobody nothing. Nothing. Without an understanding of what's going on and what I'm getting from the money that I'm giving them. Glad to see the channel is still going strong. It's been a minute since I caught a live. Shout out to Glenn. Appreciate you for checking back in. No problem. What about a Dodge Caravan? Would you rock with one of those? I mean, a Dodge Caravan, most that's going to get you is local delivery work from an application. Commercial work, limited. You can go to a company like T-Force. They'll put you on some e-commerce runs. But pretty much in a personal vehicle, maybe some gig work, T-Force, maybe some e-commerce stuff. FTS says crypto is jumping today. Yeah, I think Grayscale is done with their sell-off. So if that is true, then we should see about the next few weeks green. Ideal startup budget and box truck size to start with. All right, so if I were getting into the box truck business right now, honestly, and I know yesterday there were some people say, "Oh, I started with $5,000." Listen, I don't really think that's realistic because if you think about what people are coming in today, they're having to put a $5,000 deposit down on their rental truck. All right, if you buy a box truck, you're going to have to put a deposit down. All right. So whether you're renting or you're buying, it's going to cost you more than $5,000. Long are the days that you could walk into a rental truck company and they just give you a truck off 1 week. You paying your first week in advance. Them days is over with. You can thank Man and them during the pandemic for messing it up. Hit the like button. Why is it when I go live this format, people don't hit the like button? When I go live the other format, they do. Hit the like button. All right. Damn, where did I leave off at? So I think honestly, starting a box truck business today, if I was getting started, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Me, I could probably pull it off with 20. And the reason I say 20 is because if I go buy a truck, here's the thing. See, I gotta look at it 2 different scenarios. I got the money to go cash out on a truck. But so I'm gonna put myself in a person, let's say if I didn't have the capital. All right, I would have to understand I would have to put a down payment one way or the other, whether I was renting a truck or buying a truck. I would understand I would have to get my authority. I understand I would have to put down a deposit on the insurance. Obviously, insurance is a lot higher now, right? So I'm gonna say about 20. If I can get the deposit for the insurance, get my business structured, my authority, deposit for the truck all for under 15,000 and then have about $5,000 working capital to play with, then cool, but more realistically about 25 to 30. Now some people are going to dispute that, but you gonna be like the guy the other day that wants to start 3 box trucks, don't want to get out there and learn the business, and he think he can do it for $9,000. It's just not realistic. It's just not realistic. You see what I'm saying? So what people fail to realize is that you have to have working capital. If you have just enough, if you come up with just enough money, if you do your math, you inquire with the rental truck company, you inquire with this person, that person, the insurance, and your total number is 7,000. Duh. Okay, you got 7,000. You figure out a way. You wait for your BM, your baby mama to get her taxes. She run you her whole tax check, 7,000. Duh, goofball. You still have to have working capital. You still have to have fuel. You still have to have money for the unexpected. You still got to eat. What you gonna do? Go out on the road and not eat? How you gonna wash your ass? You got to pay to wash your ass in them showers. Yeah, you might want to sleep in the truck, but you're gonna have to pay to wash your ass. See, people don't think about this, and this is how I know that people haven't done research on business. If you have just enough money to get in, it's not enough. You got to have working capital. So, you know, honestly, somewhere between 20 to 30,000. And that's just facts. Like that $5,000 scenario doesn't exist anymore. That was a scenario that existed back in the day when I got in, during the 2010s, maybe to the beginning part of the pandemic. After the pandemic, that scenario doesn't exist. I said this before on a live stream. Think about it. Be smart. Don't be like some of these retard content creators that sell you a narrative that doesn't make sense. If the rate of inflation has gone up to 8-9%, everything is higher. What makes you think that the box trucking industry is exempt from that? Is exempt from that? So you think everything else went up, eggs, milk, insurance, but the box truck industry and everything that's centered around it entail to running a box truck didn't go up as well? So you're watching content from 3-4 years ago, or you're watching these same content creators that's been saying the same narrative for the past 2, 3, 4 years. And it doesn't dawn on you that, wait a minute, hold on. So you mean to tell me that this person was saying this 2, 3 years ago and it's still that today? No, it's not. It's not. It's higher to get in. Now, I'm starting to see, because a lot of these guys, they watch Marky Mark. They ain't going to admit to it, but Marky Mark puts out all the correct information. So when they watch me, you see how they change their script? Why? Because people look at what Mark said, this, and to be honest with you, that does make sense, because when I called Penske, when I called Enterprise, they did tell me it was going to be this much. They said I had to put a down payment. When I inquired with my insurance broker last year, August of last year, when I first thought about getting it, and I got a quote for insurance, and now that I got my tax money and I got the money to get started, and I'm ready to, you know, push the ball forward, the quote is a little bit higher now, because everything is higher. So yeah, it's not as cheap as it once was. Uh, 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 the more working capital, the better. But I think 20K in working capital is good. In the event multiple bad events happen at the same time, should be enough. And see, that's what a lot of people don't prepare for it. Like I was talking to the guy the other day, he was like, well, man, nothing shouldn't happen, man. It's just like my mom always told me, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. You don't know what could happen. You're going to hope for the best, but you're going to prepare for the worst. And you already know how I feel about hope. You know, so faith without works is dead. You got to do the work, and you got to hope that nothing happens. But if something does happen, you have to be prepared for it. You know, by all means necessary. Don't put yourself in a trick bag, because if you go out there, you have just enough to get in with just enough, and then you face an unforeseen circumstance off bat. And we've had some incidences of people that have faced challenges. One of the guys in the testimonial, he bought his truck on his first load, the truck broke down. The last testimonial we did, on their first load, the truck. So out of all the testimonials we did, 2 I can remember off the top of my head, their first load, the truck broke down. So if you had just enough to get in, you hoping that you run a load or 2 and you get some little money coming in, but the first load, you just had enough to get in, you in, and something happens, now you stuck. You ain't got no money to get the truck towed. You ain't got no money to pay for it to get fixed. You ain't got no money to pay for a hotel. You ain't got no money to fly back to the crib. You're over the road. You could be in the middle of nowhere. You could be in the middle of nowhere. Who would want to put themselves in a situation like that? I know I wouldn't. I know what it's like driving cross country, not OTR, but moving people long distance. I know what it's like. I've been in some situations driving overnight where, you know, I'm in the middle of nowhere, no cell signal, no nothing. What happens if the truck breaks down in one of those dead zones? You out on the road somewhere in the middle of the night on one of these interstates or one of these back roads where it's pitch black. You about 50, 60 miles from town. You in the middle of America somewhere. What you think? You think the tow truck company, when you call them, you think they're going to feel a certain way? You think they're going to have sympathy for you? No, you know what? It's a small town with low revenue. Oh, man, we got us one. And he a darkie? Oh, man, we going to get that darkie. Yeah. I need 1,500. We had a few different people on the channel that have come spoken. One guy, it was $5,000 to get a tow. But guess what? You in a situation that you ain't got no choice. It ain't like you in Chicago or New York or LA in the inner city and somebody trying to gouge you and you be like, all right, man, I'll call you back, and you can call a million other people. If you in the middle of nowhere and the nearest town has only got one tow truck, one record, what are you gonna do? You either gonna pay them or you're gonna leave your truck. See, these are the scenarios that you're gonna be faced with, and this is the harsh reality. And guess what? They're gonna charge you what they want to charge you. Why? Because they may not get another call for 2 or 3 months. And then when you get to town, when they get their truck to town, it's one mechanic. And he a good old boy. He a good old boy. But you gonna argue with him? It's either you gonna get the truck fixed or you gonna tow it to the next town 100 miles away. So either you gonna pay the cost so you can get up out of there and get going, or you gonna leave it there. What you gonna do? See, these are the scenarios that people don't think about, but these are the scenarios that happen. Then what? He said, oh, it's going to be about a week. Why? Because he's 60, 70 years old. He the only diesel mechanic in town. It's a truck before you or something before you. He telling you a week. So now you got to either get in a hotel for a week or you got to book a flight to the crib, then fly back. These are the scenarios. So don't you think you need to have some type of working capital for scenarios like this? It happens. The truck is a workhorse. You buy a used truck, yeah, they might sell you a level 1, but here's the thing. You don't know how the previous owner took care of that truck. If they were someone serious, they drove that truck, they worked it. And working it doesn't necessarily beat it up. It means working it. That truck was running. It's man-made. Eventually things and components are going to go bad with it. Hopefully it goes bad, you know, things go bad when you're close to a major city or major town, but it always seems to never happen like that. You have to be prepared and make sure you have working capital for scenarios like this. I remember, and I was local. I had the first time I had to get one of my trailer doors fixed. The wire on the trailer, you know, after a while, open and close, it winds up and then you can't open the back door. There was a trailer spot less than 5 miles from my yard. And Ron, if you know who Ron is, you've been following the channel for a while, he took me to the guy. I'm in Chicago and this is a good old boy. Going in the damn trailer place, they got on the sign, credit cards accepted, Visa, MasterCard, so on and so forth. Dropped the truck off. They called me later. Me and Ron run back up there. I pull out the company business card. No, cash only. What does the door say, y'all? Take credit as a business card. Cash only. I want cash. Old white guy. Good old boy. Now, I know why he wanted cash from me. Because he probably thought I was going to pull the old dispute thing. I know he was racist than a MF. But what was I supposed to do? I needed the truck, the trailer, it was fixed. I could sit there and argue with this retard all day, or I could just pay him cash. You know what Ron told me? He said, look, he the only trailer place closest to the yard. The next trailer place about 30 miles out. What you gonna do? You gonna sit here and go back and forth with this racist motherfucker and try to, yeah, you right? Or you just gonna take the damn truck and just be done with it? I paid him the cash and got out of there. It is what it is. So, you got to make sure you have money for these uh, uh, instances. Let me see. Uh, People need to stop that you can make 5 to 8K per week on Botcha. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but some people are gonna believe that. Let them believe it. You can make 5, but that whole 7K and 8K and all that, no. You be correct 100% of the time on everything you talk about. I can say you're very knowledgeable, great content always. Shout out to you, Ken. Appreciate that. I used to check out Trucking Out the Box and Box Truck Couple. What do you think of their mentorship program? I've never taken their mentorship program, so I can't critique it or judge it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm knowledgeable in the space. I'm experienced in the space. I've got way more experience than them, but there's no reason or cause for me to take somebody else's mentorship when I've been doing this since 2010. So I uh, can't really critique it. You'd probably be better off asking someone that took it. What up, Nick? How do I feel about leasing a truck or a Sprinter van? I think leasing is okay if you plan on staying in the business for a long time, because when you're leasing, you're signing a commitment, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the commitment is for. What are some unforeseen things included with Final Mile instead of OTR? I think a lot of the things people don't foresee getting into Final Mile is the claims. A lot of claims in Final Mile. You're dealing with the actual merchandise, the goods, and then you're actually dealing with property. You're going into people's homes, and a lot of the times you're trying to squeeze something the size of a watermelon into something the size of a lemon. And it can be challenging, and it takes a lot of skill set. And when you're new, you don't have the skill set or the experience to know how to maneuver a lot of these big, bulky items through doorways, upstairs, the equipment to use, when to use certain equipment versus other equipment, when to walk away and say no, what can fit and what can't fit. And these customers have never done this before in their life, and they let the customers send them off, you know. So that's the most unforeseen. I think a lot of people look at the earning potential of Final Mile and they don't understand that it's a high liability driven business. There's a lot of claims associated with it. You can literally get onboarded for Final Mile, and the first delivery that you ever do could be a $4,000 or $5,000 LG or Samsung refrigerator, and you can damage it. So now that $5,000 that you were projected to earn that week over 5 or 6 days of an average of 10 stops, 12 stops a day, you just lost that on your very first delivery because you just dinged up a $5,000 refrigerator, or you scratched the floor. You know what I'm saying? A floor, anybody knows about a floor, that's probably one of the scariest things because, they call out Mike's Hardwood Floor and they get a quote. Mike gonna come in there and be like, all right, in order for me to fix this scratch, I gotta do the whole floor. Why? Because if I sand and repair this part of the floor and restain it, it's gonna look newer than the rest of the floor. You had these floors done 10 years ago. So they look good, but they look a little worn. They're gonna look worn in comparison to this one little area. So in order for it to look seamless and even throughout, I gotta do the whole floor. And this is what you're gonna hear. And guess what the customer is gonna say? They're gonna go with what Mike Hardwood Flooring says. Right, because they want their floor to look right. They want it to look how it looked prior to you coming in. So they're gonna fight. But guess what? If they bought the refrigerator from Best Buy or Lowe's or Home Depot, they ain't gonna pay for it. They're gonna put it off on the 3PL, the logistics company. If the logistics company is JB Hunt Final Mile, UST, Pilot, NAL, T-Force, AIT, whoever, you think they're gonna pay for it? No, because they didn't go in people's homes. They're gonna put it off on you. Now, if you the owner operator and you not on the truck and you got 2 guys, you think your 2 guys can afford $5,000? So ultimately, that's gonna be on you. And guess what? You can dispute it, but 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose because you actually did the damage. And they're gonna take that money out your settlement. A lot of things have changed since when I got in. Now what they're doing is they're taking that money out your settlement. They're, charging you. Like they're not even giving you, if you damage something from what I'm hearing now, you damage something and you pay for it, they don't even let you keep the shit. How can you damage a refrigerator? They charge you $5,000 for it and they don't even let you keep it. You know why? Because they put that refrigerator back out on the floor as open box. And they say, oh, it's a ding on the side of it. So instead of this refrigerator being $4,800, we'll give it to you for $4,200. So now they got a free refrigerator. You pay for it. You ain't got shit to show for it. Why? Because claims are up 28% from what I understand. I do a lot of meetings with a lot of these third-party logistics company. They, have me sit in on focus groups and they consult with me because I'm the liaison between them and you guys, and from coming from this for so many years, they want to know, Mark, what do you think? How can we make the process faster at loadout in the morning? What do you think we need to do to boost morale? What do you think we need to do to lower the claims? So this is probably the most unforeseen thing that I think a lot of people that enter into the final mile business, don't look into or don't expect. I'm in California struggling. I have enough credit finance a cargo van, but I have bad driving record. I don't if I could get insurance. You don't know if you can get insurance. I have enough credit finance a cargo van, but I have bad driving record. Get with a broker, see what they can get for you. Have them shop you around. That's the only thing you really can do. 5K to start a box truck. I don't see it. One breakdown. I don't. It's not feasible in today's time. It's not feasible. Hey, brother, do you think there's more money in OTR final mile moving, being based in California? Moving. There's moves that you can do that it would take an OTR driver 4 or 5 days to make gross for the week that you can do in one day locally. You're in California, so you're in a big market. You get a 4 or 5 bedroom house, 6 guys, $300-400 an hour, plus truck fees, plus material fees. That's a 10-hour job minimum. Now do the math. You say you charge $300 an hour times 10, that's $3,000 right there. I've had jobs that went 12, 13, 14, 16 hours. It all depends on the house, how much shit they have, how many trucks it's going to take, and how much wrapping. A big part of those big home moves is the wrapping. You got to break stuff down. You got a person who got a living room, a family room. They got a big wraparound couch. They got a living room, a family room, and a theater room. You got to break those theater chairs down individually. You got to wrap them. You got to break that wraparound sectional down. You got to wrap that. Your living room, wrap that. 5, 6 bedrooms. You got to break the mattresses down, break the beds down, wrap all that stuff, wrap the dressers, wrap the chest, move all the boxes out. Take the TVs off the wall, take the mounts off the wall, wrap the TVs. Take the table apart, big glass table, big heavy glass table, marble table. Take the glass off, lay the blankets down, wrap that. China cabinet, armoire on the second floor. Got to take that apart, wrap that. Strap up, got to strap up. Pad everything, coming down the stairs. That takes time. That's all day. That's an early day and a late night. It's a lot of work, a lot of heavy lifting. Then when you get to the unload, guess what? Now you got to unload the truck. You got to unwrap everything. You got to put everything back together. Them theater chairs, you got to push them theater chairs. You got that rail under the bottom. You got to line those holes up, drill all that. That's a lot of work. Now you got to take that armoire back up to another flight of stairs. You got to strap up. If it's a china cabinet, all that glass, you got to take all that glass out, put it back in, wrap all that stuff up. A lot of work. Now, if you ask me, looking back on things, if I could do everything all over again, would I still do moving when I go TR? I would go moving all day. I would rather do hard work and make that $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in a day than go over the road. That's just me personally. Some people don't want to do that type of hard work. But if you're youth, you have your legs, you have your knees under you, you can do that for a good 10-year run and be done. All right, sorry, I had to take a phone call. Um, I'm back. Had to jump on the phone call. I do got to get out of here. I got to go pick my car up. It's ready. So, let me see. I'm gonna take a few more, then I gotta get out of here. All right, but do you think there's more money in OTR Final Mile? I'm thinking about buying a tractor trailer and jumping in and heading to the ports. They make 225 as well. What you think? I've never ran tractor trailers, so I really can't answer that question. But 225 to $280,000 a year is a lot of money. So just bought a box truck, finna continue delivering package for Amazon on that joint. That's what's up. Is there any type of final mile where you just leave at doorstep so I can avoid claims? It's called curbside final mile, where you don't go in the house. That's curbside final mile. Thanks, Mark. You should do a final mile live. I remember when you had the Cardinal representative here. Yeah. I feel like I've done enough, or I've done pretty much everything that I could do as far as information, as far as foundation information on getting started, all the way up to like divesting from the business. Final mile, I got a lot of final mile information. It's just people don't want to do it. People don't want to do hard work. People want to make all the money. Hit the like button. Why we got 100 people and only 29 likes? People don't want to do hard work. Obviously, the harder the work, the more money you make. So, I don't know. Like, listen, I've always been the type of person where I look for. Listen, if I see a trucking, if I look in trucking and I see different sectors, and I see that this sector is a lot of supply and lower demand, and I see if there's demand over here and there's lower supply, but the reason why the supply is lower and demand is higher because the workload is heavier and people don't want to do that work, but the earning potential is higher, I'm going to go do that. I'm not scared of hard work. I'd rather work hard for a shorter period of time and make the money and take that money and invest into things where my money is going to make money than work for a longer period of time and have to deal with economic ups and downs and shit like that and increased competition and a lot of uncertainty. I'd rather go deal with something where I don't have to deal with that. I'll just deal with the work. I'm from a different generation. So that's just me. But we're in a society now where people don't want to work. If I'm telling you I've done it, I've showed you I've done it. People have told you when I was active, when I was running, how much of a beast I was. And I'm telling you, you can do it too. You can do it too, but you just got to do the work. Not only have I showed you how to do it, how to be successful at it, I've told you how to divest from it. I've told you how to delay your gratification. I've told you how to take your money and to invest into things where your money is working for you. So that for me to sit here, listen, I've already made thousands of dollars today. Facts. And it's not even noon yet. Just sitting here talking to y'all in the middle of the day. I've already made thousands. Why? Because my money is working. I don't have to do anything. I don't need to start no company that depends on people. No, I did that shit already. I ran my bag up. I put my money into things where my money is going to work for me. So if I tell you, yo, if you follow this blueprint, you work really, really hard for 10 years, give yourself 10 years, you delay everything for 10 years, you cut down on your living so that you can invest more into different revenue streams that are going to bring you passive income. You take that active income from doing your big and bulky final mile, your OTR, your Amazon, whatever it is you're doing, junk removal, dump truck, gig work, whatever you're doing. You do that really, really hard. You continue to invest into things that are going to bring you passive income because everybody wants this generational wealth, right? This is how you get it. All right, so I knew we was going to get some trolls. I knew we was gonna get some trolls, but it's okay. I'm finna be out of here anyway. All right, so it is what it is, bro. It's all up to you. It's up to the individual. It's up to the individual. You can take it or you can leave it. It is what it is. Say, Mark, if people don't want to start moving business, it's best to buy the moving products from Walmart. Hell no. Don't buy no moving products from Walmart. If you're gonna start a moving business, you gotta go to a moving supply place, CDS or New Haven. CDS or New Haven. Don't buy no moving shit from Walmart. That shit gonna be crappy. It's gonna be poorly made. It's gonna destroy. It's gonna damage some shit. It's not gonna hold up. You need heavy duty. You need straps. You need shrink wrap. There's gonna be 80 gauge, not 43 gauge. You need moving pads, the thick moving pads. You need industrial moving tape. You need piano straps. You need hump straps. You need shoulder straps. You need all the moving equipment. You're gonna need masonite. You're gonna need professional, commercial grade moving equipment. No, Walmart, no. What do I think about starting a box truck business in St. Louis? I say go for it. St. Louis is a major market. Just do your market research before you get started. I do appreciate all your picks. I'm a member of my other YouTube channel on my computer. Okay, appreciate it. I don't see the like button. I hit the heart though. Okay. I clicked the like, but I see no like button. You know what? Because I'm on this damn vertical shit YouTube want. Is a 2005 Dodge cargo van too old to get a contract? I think a 2005 Dodge cargo van is only good for gig work, and it may depending on the gig app, it may be too old, depending. I know like GoShare, they got a 15-year requirement. There's one for sale near me in a good condition for $10,500. I think a 2005 Dodge Caravan for $10,500 is really expensive, to be honest with you. I think that's kind of on the expensive side. If I was you, I look for spending 10 grand. I would look to spend another 3,000 or 4,000 with that and start with maybe a Transit T150. It's not going to be a high roof, but it's going to be better and more capacity than spending 10 for a cargo van, a Grand Did you say a Grand Caravan? A Dodge cargo van? Yeah, I would look into something more commercial. If you're talking about a Grand Caravan, I'm trying to think, what did Dodge make in 2005 that was commercial? The ProMaster wasn't out yet. I can't think. Hi, Mark, long time follower. Thank you for your content and thoughts on a 16 to 25 Isuzu box truck with the reefer. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Do your market research to see if see what opportunities are out in Phoenix for a reefer truck. That's what I would say. There's not, there's work for reefer trucks, but it's specific niche work. You got to really have a contract for that work. I'm not too familiar with reefer contracts because I've never ran reefer box truck. But I would do a market research before you go out and buy that truck to make sure that you're going to be able to find some work for it. What's up with this T-Force using your own vehicle? I'm trying to get started. Contact them, apply. They have contracts like StockX and Zara and medical, pharmaceutical, prescription deliveries that people do in their own car. Yes, I agree. I just asked for the final mile because a lot of freight trends to OTR aren't applicable to final mile moving. Yeah, so the way box truck works as far as the pay, obviously, the harder the job, the more the pay. So moving would be top, final mile, big and bulky would be second. Then it goes down to your OTR, curbside. Your curbside final mile tends to pay better than your OTR as well because your curbside final mile pays pretty much parallel to your OTR, but the difference is your costs are lower because you're local. You're not spending much in fuel and much in maintenance over a period of time because you're not running your truck as hard as you're running it OTR. There's contracts curbside final mile that pay $750 a day, $650 a day. I have people that are running, curbside contracts making anywhere from $750 to $1,000 a day locally. So what was your other question, Nick? Shout out to Kelvin. 14-foot 2014 Isuzu NPR with the lift gate. Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. 14-foot, that's gonna be tough, man. You know, that's like that's man, I would be looking for work that you could do with a cargo van because man, 14-foot, that's not even a 16-footer, and right now it's tough for work in 16-footer. So I would look for cargo van work. I would look for cargo van work and small moving jobs, very small, not even a 1-bedroom. You know, dorm studio work, studio and under work. 14 is just, man, it's just it's just a rough size. It's like a little bit more than enough space for what cargo van would take, not enough space for a 16. It's not big, it's not even a 16-footer. So you're kind of, it's kind of rough, bro. I would look for cargo van stuff and then like T-Force or maybe Waco or Capstone. See if you can get like a bulk office supply route, you know, bulk meaning pallet office supply. If you're in a market, hopefully where companies order pallets of paper, they could give you those routes versus, you know, putting those pallets on a cargo van. So I would look into that. Dodge Sprinter, is that the 2005 you were talking about? 2005 Dodge Sprinter? When is the next cargo van versus box truck video? I don't know. I was thinking about that. I guess I got to put one together soon. Leaning towards cargo van. That's smart. How to find final curbside contracts. Look into T-Force, look into AIT, T-Force, AIT, look into RNL, look into Capstone. Now, these companies, some of them are going to require some tenure. So if you're new, you may not be able to apply with all these. So some of them are going to require some tenure. Are you ever going to explain in the members only how to research stocks and crypto to find the best trades like you do? Because I want to learn. I explained some research narratives today. I did a live stream about an hour ago in the members only, and I explained how to research. You just want to research different narratives. And then you want to look into certain assets and research that. Whatever the assets, whatever the narratives are popular at the current time or going to be popular, you want to start researching those narratives, and then you want to start researching companies that build within those narratives. And that's it. During 2020, EV was the big push. So then you want to start researching that sector. You want to start researching EV companies, and then you want to also research infrastructure. Your infrastructure would be your charging elements, things that are built around charging, from the charging stations to the companies that build and have the components that go into the charging stations. Plug Power, Blink, ChargePoint, Volta. Companies like that are publicly traded. That's infrastructure. Then you want to look into the companies. NIO, Tesla, Rivian, Lion, Lucid. All right? Once you start looking at the companies, see which companies have the best use case, see which companies you think, after doing your research and putting together your own opinion, are going to grow and scale in the next 10 years. Obviously, the company that you think is going to grow and scale the best are obviously the companies that their stock prices are going to go higher, right? And then those are the companies that you want to invest in. Now, I can't tell you what companies to invest into because I'm not a financial advisor, but that's how I research, So I look to see what the next trends are going to be. Why? I want to jump into a trend before it gets popular. Why? Because I don't follow trends. I don't follow trends. I get into the trends prior to the people who follow trends. Why? Because when the trend becomes popular, I've already been in it. I was in it when it was cheap. Now it becomes popular, it goes up. So now I'm selling. I'm selling to you high because I got in low. You see what I'm saying? So while people were getting into EV, I was already in EV. So I was able to sell my CCIV for damn near $60 because I bought in at 18 earlier in that year. You see what I'm saying? I'm able to sell my Solana, let's say, for if it gets to 1,000 like it's projected to do. Why? Because my average cost is $57. Right now it's $200. I could sell now. I've already quadrupled my money. You see what I'm saying? So taking the time to research the next biggest thing, or if you're looking at long-term play, researching a company you feel that has the potential to grow over the next 10 years. And if you just really want to be safe, just invest into the S&B. So it's as simple as that. Hey, Mark, for a long time, what's your suggestion for someone lost membership with Amazon Relay anyway? I've never done Amazon, man. So I really don't know. You got to check in with like Midwest Box Trucking. He'd probably be the best person to ask about an Amazon question. Go ask Midwest Box Trucking. He probably can help you with that. I have an LLC and a DOT number, but no insurance. Can lease on to someone else. Yeah, you can. But why don't you have any insurance? How do I get notified when you do members only lives? I see them on my computer. They are a few days late. Just make sure you turn on the notification. When you hit the notification bell, click that little arrow and then just say all personalized or none. Make sure you click all. It's a bull market, so anyone can earn currently. Wrong. That's absolutely wrong. Just because it's a bull market doesn't mean you can earn. People are getting wrecked right now. Why? Because you can buy into a play that can be running and it can tank. We saw that with Book of Meme 2 weeks ago. You see AI running, but if AI, something goes wrong with AI, even though that narrative is being pushed now, you can see it tank. Bitcoin has been in the red for the past 3 weeks because of the grayscale sell-off. So guess what? Somebody that bought in high, when it hit 72 a few weeks ago, they're waiting for it to hit again. What if they put all their money in and it tanked because grayscale started to sell it off? So that's not true. People get wrecked in bull runs all the time because they don't know what they're doing. So just because something is a bull run doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get rich or you're going to divest in time, because what we know about a bull run, it's going to eventually go bear and it's going to crash 85 to 90%. You got a lot of people that invest into memes, things that have no use case, no utility. So just because they buy in doesn't mean that they're going to divest in time. It doesn't mean that what they bought in, it could be a pump and dump or a rug pull because they didn't take the time to research the actual asset to see who's the founder of it, if it has any use case. It could be another FTX. So not true. There's plenty rug pulls out here. Anybody can make a coin, run it up, promote it for a couple of days, and suck all the liquidity out of it and leave you holding the bag. So that's absolutely false. Absolutely false. All right, on that note, man, I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, man. That kind of that just blew me. That's kind of like saying during the pandemic, anybody with a box truck gonna make a lot of money. Yeah, in most cases, you had a box truck back then, you did make a lot of money. If you didn't even know what you was doing, you made money. But look how many people bought box trucks during the pandemic, made some dollars, and got wrecked within that same year. Once again, investing to something that you don't understand. Just because it's green and it's printing at that particular time doesn't mean it's going to print forever. So there is a level of education that you must have. Just because you're buying into something at a particular time does not mean you're going to come out on the winning end of it. We've seen that happen. And the same thing goes for, you know, trucking, investment, to goddamn, you know, if you want to be a restaurateur, anything. So you got to know what you're investing into. You have to have understanding of what you're investing in. You know, nothing lasts forever, and things change. So you got to know how to move and shake. Thailander, what's up? Do I ever need help moving from non-employees? No. There were times where, we might have been short, but just get through it. If you're running one truck and it's just you and one other guy, and that guy doesn't show up to work, then he might be a little SOL, versus a person who has a company with a multitude of employees. You can kind of move things around. You got people out there that pick up people at the local Home Depot, but then doing something like that, you're picking up a stranger to go into a customer's home. You don't know the background on this individual. This person could be a kleptomaniac. So you got to be kind of mindful when you're putting people, on your truck that you don't know. All right. So, all right, man. I think I'm gonna get out of here, man, because I got some stuff to do. So, Nick Gurr said, "Bro, I hate this way of life." Yeah, me too. I'm just trying it out. I think I'm gonna stray away from it. I tried it. I don't really care for it. So I'm gonna go back to my regular way of doing it. What's your thoughts on mattress delivery? I think mattress delivery, you get a good contract, it pays exceptionally well, and it's not as labor intensive as furniture. You got some mattresses that are heavy, man. Some of them mattress in a boxes, man, some of them things, man. I had a mattress in a box in 2022. Man, I think it was one of the last few months where I was out there. Man, that mattress was so heavy, man. That probably was the heaviest mattress that I ever lifted in my life, man. I thought it was a body in that mattress. So, you got some of these kings that are really, really heavy. You got some of those kings that are really, really soft that, kind of collapse in the middle. Those are kind of heavy, especially when you're going up flights of stairs. So, but it's a lot easier than lifting armoires, I tell you that much. So, appreciate that super chat, the Quirk Files. Appreciate you, Ty Leonard. I just did a move with 3 brand new mattresses in a box, queen size. It was actually easier than the ones loose size. Yeah, so if you get a light one, they're cool, but some of them mattresses in a box, man,